Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining us. And to our regular listeners, welcome back. With me, as always, is my co-host, the greatest co-host in the world, Mike The Pig Crum. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing well, my friend. Considering coming off an L, but I figure Lakers beat Clippers. That hasn't happened, and my boy there got the Rangers. You guys both got Rangers World Series, so we have to take our sports moments. We can't have it all. So we didn't get a win yesterday for our Cowboys, but we still have good sports moments this week.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit on the Rangers high. I'm starting to come down from that, but yeah, if the Rangers had not won a World Series, yesterday's loss would hurt a lot more, Mike. I'd have to agree with you there.
Yeah, it was. They at least they played well enough to where it wasn't the Niners game where I was like devastated.
Oh my goodness, man! I can imagine if we played like that. Mike, before we get into our discussion tonight, where can we find you on Twitter?
At CD Pickler, guys, nice and easy.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. Joining us tonight in our discussion is the newest member and account manager of the Across the Cowboys Twitter account. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Brenden Fergie Smith. Brenden, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's always fun to be back on here.
Absolutely. Brenden, where can we find you on Twitter?
You can find me at Brenden_Smith26.
Yes, sir. All right, guys, I know we have a lot to discuss tonight, but before we talk about anything, we must discuss one thing and one thing only. Of course, I'm referring to Meatless Monday. Mike, what was on the menu today? Hopefully something good, man.
It was, man. I had a veggie pot pie. So like a chicken pot pie, just sans the chicken.
Yeah.
And I brushed the crust with a little milk and honey, and it was really good. Potatoes, carrots, onions, broccoli. It was great.
Mike, I'm going to ask a dumb question, but I assume you're familiar with the shepherd's pie, correct?
Oh, yeah. I had shepherd's pie a few days ago.
Now, in your opinion, shepherd's pie, I know like the most traditional way of having it would be with lamb meat, but, more often than not, it's like either ground beef or some sort of beef like mashed potatoes and a veggie, correct?
Yeah, it's typically peas, carrots, lamb, like casserole, topped with mashed potatoes, and then baked in the oven.
Okay, the reason I bring this up is because one time I was dating this girl, and I'm at her house for dinner, and her mom's like, "Hey guys, I'm making shepherd's pie tonight. I hope y'all like that." And I'm like, "Oh man, I'm excited, right?" And so she's like, "It's done. Come serve yourself." And I go in the kitchen, and I see it looks like a pot pie, and I'm like, "Oh wow, I've never seen it served like this before." But then when I go to serve it, I see there's no meat in it. And it's like everything you described in a pot pie, like your veggie pot pie, that's what it was. But she called it a shepherd's pie. Have you ever seen a vegetarian shepherd's pie?
No. I mean, I'm sure people have done it with fake meat, so there's still meat in it. But without meat, that's basically a potato casserole. That's like a veggie casserole.
Yeah, it was just strange because my mom, she always used to make me shepherd's pie growing up, and it was like in the casserole form with the ground beef and peas and corn and mashed potatoes and a little bit of cheese on top, like baked in the oven and everything. But that was the first time I'd ever seen it with a crust like a pot pie, and that's the first time I ever saw the vegetarian type. So you kind of took me down memory lane there for a minute.
I know when it's shepherd's pie, technically, is when it's with ground lamb. And then when it's made with ground beef, there's another name for it, and I for the life of me, I can't remember what it's called. It makes me mad. But regardless, ground beef or lamb, it's one of my all-time favorite dishes when it's done right.
Yes, sir. I'm surprised. Like my wife and I we have this favorite Mediterranean spot that we go to. We try to go at least once a week, but at least a couple times a month. And I've never seen a shepherd's pie on the list. I wonder if it's a Mediterranean dish or where it originates from.
That's a British dish, my friend. Shepherd's pie is a British dish.
And I guess they eat a lot of lamb over there?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not really a lamb person. I don't dislike it, but I do love shepherd's pie with lamb. So
Interesting. All right, well, before we get into a 30-minute discussion about food, Mike, let's go ahead and get after this Cowboys talk. It's never easy recapping a loss, but it must be done. So, Mike, I'm curious, how do the Cowboys fix their slow starts?
Defensively, I'm kind of at a loss. I don't know. They're becoming constantly inconsistent. And it's a problem because they're supposed to be the part that carries our team. So it's weird because you'll end a game looking at the overall stats and see like they had like 300 something yards total. Like Hurts had 207 passing yards. They had barely over 100 rushing. Like, and it looks like they did great. And then you kind of like watch the game and you're like, yeah, they weren't dominant. Like they didn't make like to start the game, boom, 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 touchdown, you know. Offensively is pretty simple. Stop running the ball up the middle and praying your quarterback can save you on 3rd and 8 every time. Like the first play for Jalen Hurts, you know what it was? Play action pass. You know, it got him set up, an 8-yard reception or whatever it was, you know, get you an easy pass, get you going. So offensively, I would start play action pass earlier, you know, in first drives. And you don't have to establish the run in order for the play action to work. That's a misnomer. And then defensively, I have no idea. Just be your good selves early in the game.
Brenden, what about you? What are your thoughts on the Cowboys fixing their slow starts?
Of course, I agree with Mike because me and Mike basically just think the same on most of this stuff. But I could bet my car on what the Dallas' first 2 plays are going to be, and I'd win. I'd get a lot of money. We could go to California like we were talking about Friday easily. I could pay for your ticket, Paul. Like if I can predict it. Do you think people who get paid millions of dollars to go scout, look, do you think they know? Yeah, you have a 210, maybe 205-pound back there in Tony Pollard, so he's not going to do anything. Defense, I don't know. One thing that pisses me off about Dan Quinn, you see Deron Bland 12 yards off the receiver, and they can just run a curl route, and guess what? You're going to at least lose 5 yards. Like, I don't know what they're wanting to do there, but it's just coaching malpractice, basically.
So, Mike, when you said this question, I could only assume that you were talking about the offense. So I was looking at the stats, and every game that we've played this season, the Cowboys offense has scored a total of 37 points in the first quarter, which, divided by 8 games is less than 5 points per game. However, I don't know if it's necessarily the offense starting off slow or the fact that the defense has scored so many points early in the season. They scored a total of 20 points in the first quarter. They scored so early in games. I wonder if it's the Cowboys offense just not really getting that many possessions. Again, that was earlier in the season, but I kind of found that interesting.
In their 3 losses, all 3, the defense gave up points on the opposing team's first drive, and Dallas went 3 and out in all 3 losses. So, I mean, if that's not a trend that tells you the team needs to get off the better starts,
right?
I don't know what else can help you with that.
Yeah, it's just, you brought up a really good point about the defense kind of being inconsistent because, like you mentioned, that's supposed to be somewhat the backbone of this team, and they, like you said, have been consistent the last couple of weeks now.
Yeah, we have more on that coming up.
Yes, sir. Brenden, is Steele the latest he wasn't himself after a major injury guy?
Yes, he is. He had 4 sacks last night, I believe 7 hurries. Dear Lord, he couldn't stop a nosebleed on the right side. I'm trying not to be overcritical because like he was great before injury and all that, and that's why they paid him. But he looked worse than what Chuma has, and y'all already know my feelings about Mr. Edoga at tackle. So but right now, I don't want him out there. He's a complete liability. It's just so sad. He was so dominant. We missed him last year when he got hurt, and you're like, oh, this run game's really hurting without him. And now you're like, get off the field. I know we paid you. I don't want to see you. It's just
I'm sure a lot of – sorry to cut you off, but I was going to say I'm sure a lot of guys have had hard times blocking Hassan Reddick, but, yeah, that was inexcusable, that performance yesterday. Mike, what are your thoughts on Steele and the injury and, coming back a year after?
Yeah, I think even last year he was never a great pass protection tackle, but he always made up for it for being one of the best run blocking ones, and he just obviously isn't that right now. And so that I believe has to do with the injury. The hope is now that we paid him, We might have to start learning to not pay guys coming off injury. Like, it stinks. You're going to lose some people, but that might be a lesson after, Gallup and Pollard and Steele. Maybe even Dak struggled coming off the first year of his, coming off his injury. So it's just it's tough because you could see it's affecting him. I mean, you could just tell from the year before to this year that he's not moving people like he was, and it's too bad.
Yeah, so on the opposite end, we had our guy Tyron Smith came back. Mike, how much of a noticeable difference did Tyron Smith make yesterday?
He was great. He didn't even go up a pressure. Him and Tyler on the left side, the two Smith boys on the left side, were doing a great job. Again, maybe not enough in the run game, but you're playing that's one thing the Eagles are very strong at. So hopefully going forward, when you're playing Giants and Carolina and the Commanders and the Seahawks, that left side can start moving people in the run game.
Brenden, would you rather have Tyron Smith or Udoga paired with Tyler Smith on the left side?
Well, okay, let's play the cut. I think I'm just going to have to go Tyron slightly.
Yeah, just a little bit, right?
What if it was an XFL team?
Oh, you start Udoga any day of the week. Perfect. Nope. This is the reason why. This is the main thing I hate about Tyron is when he comes back, he looks great. Hey, look at this. This is who we're missing on the left side. Look at this. He's beautiful. And then he's just going to get hurt. I of course I don't wish injury upon anyone, but like it's gonna happen. It's like he's gonna get like a stinger in practice. And he's gonna miss like 2 weeks, and we're gonna have to throw the XFL player back out there. So, but yeah, this is what I hate. He's a Hall of Fame player. He's a dominant tackle whenever he can, and the team needs him badly, mainly with the right side playing awful. So yeah.
If he's gonna go out, have it be like let it be before we have to face the Commanders and the Seahawks.
The Commanders don't scare me at all. They have their defensive tackles. They have nobody on the edge.
That's true. I forgot they traded everybody.
So I'm not afraid of them whatsoever.
We're 5-3 and they're 4-5. They're not too far behind from us. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, they're a scrappy team. I'm talking about like tackles wise. I'm not too afraid.
Yeah, I know that offense. I feel like could give us some problems though.
Oh yeah.
All right, so Mike, is Pollard in that same boat as Terrence Steele, where he's not himself coming back from injury, or is it more due to bad O-line play for him?
Overall, the run game is about bad O-line, but I mean, you could tell that Pollard's not as elusive and explosive as he was before the injury. So, yes, the answer is yes, he's in that same boat. But also the O-line is like really bad, and it's really impacting just the basic run game. So it's a mix of both. But yeah, I do believe Pollard has been impacted by his injury.
Brenden, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I agree with Mike. But also it's the scheme. Like I said earlier, Pollard's not big. Guess what? Deuce Vaughn wasn't hurt, and guess what? When we saw in the preseason, he get to the outside, he makes a play, running him up the middle. I don't know how many times, I don't want to throw a stat out there, but multiple times a game. Tyler Biadasz is doing well. Tyler Smith is doing phenomenal, and Zach Martin's still, Hall of Famer. But what in the hell? Like, why are you just like, oh, hey, Tony Pollard, I know you're hurt. What's running up the middle with the big defensive tackles, Jalen Carter? Right there. I don't get it. No, I completely agree. He's there because you can see that he still isn't as explosive. But that scheme is terrible. It's atrocious.
It's a bad fit for Pollard.
Yeah, looking at the offensive line and, just Pollard not being himself, how much does the lack of the running game affecting our offense in your eyes, Brenden?
Well, it wouldn't hurt that much. Like, I don't want him back. People are misconstruing this, but if this was Kellen Moore's offense, this wouldn't hurt almost at all because it's more pass. But he wants to set the run so effing bad, as we see every game starting off with first and second down runs. Like he wants to establish the run. You don't have the running backs for that. Rico looks fine, but he's backup running back. Pollard's hurt, but also you never get into the outside. I would say it hurts us more just because of the scheme, but just let Dak do it. Let Dak run, honestly. But yeah, it does hurt because that's what your offensive identity is supposed to be.
Do you think the running game is the kind of the missing link for this offense, Mike?
I think it would help. Dak has to play too much hero ball and like be too great on third down. That's hard to do when you run up against the defenses like the Niners or other top defenses. Just pray your quarterback continues to bail you out of 3rd and 5 and longer. It also wouldn't hurt in the red zone to have the threat of the run. So I don't know if I'd put it all on that. Like the offense looked great for the most part yesterday, minus the offensive line, exactly what we expected, a down end offensive line versus the top end pass rush. They're going to struggle. Minus that, the offense looked great, so I think it helps situationally. It would help Dak in the long run because he wouldn't be asked to do so much, and it would help us in short yardage, red zone type stuff.
Yeah. Do you think a better rushing attack would have won us that game yesterday, Mike?
Possible. The thing is 1 or 2 inches would have won him that game. 1 or 2 calls. I'm not a guy that's putting stuff on the refs, but the calls broke against us that game, and so if one call goes another way, or there's 1 inch on the 2-point conversion or the touchdown call back on Schoonmaker, then we probably win that game. So a run game could help it in a game that close, a 50-50 game like that.
Brenden, what about you? Do you think a better running game would have helped us win that game yesterday?
I guess so. It would have helped sustain drives more.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would have changed with the penalties. I'm not even saying with a refs back call. I'm talking about just our awful holds and his ticky-tack, stuff like that, and drops by the receivers. So I think it would have helped a little bit, but what plays would that negate if we ran the ball more than we threw it? That's the better question.
Yeah, I feel like Mike already mentioned it, but I think with a running attack, we might have scored on that Schoonmaker play that we didn't convert on 4th down. And, we're going to talk a little bit more, but I think in the 4th quarter, a better rushing attack might have helped us in some spots there. But, Mike kind of touched on it already. But, Brenden, do you think this offense has become too reliant on Dak?
Oh, yeah. Easily. The best plays is him running for his life, throwing the ball downfield to the Fergie or CeeDee Lamb. That's what the offense is. Like, I feel bad. This last 3-game streak he's had, this is one of the more dominant times I've seen Dak. Like, he is in complete command. And he's like, oh, well, he didn't see the sack coming. I'm sorry. He was running for his play for 5 back-to-back plays. I'm sorry he didn't see that one time. My bad. He's not quarterback Jesus. But, yeah, he is playing hero ball, and he has to. And it sucks because McCarthy doesn't know how to run a scheme.
Brenden, Mike, what about you? Do you have anything to add to that?
I like I said earlier, they're too reliant on Dak right now. It's not going to work against good defenses.
Yeah, it'd be nice. You mentioned Fergie and CeeDee Lamb kind of being the most reliable options on the offense. Is the Michael Gallup experiment over for you, Mike?
Well, not in Dallas because money talks for them. So he's still going to get his plays, is what it is. He looks pretty cooked though. I think he could be a receiver in another system maybe, but I don't ever think he's going to be what we thought he could be in 2019. That's done.
Brenden?
It sucks because he had that awful drop, just like CeeDee Lamb did. They both had basically the most identical drops. But then he'll do that, and you're like, damn it. Like, why are you here? But then he'll make those 2 hard contested catches on that stop route and on that slant, and you're like, dude, like where's this been? This is what we've been needing. But he's so inconsistent, man. So yeah, I think it should be done, but no, Mike's completely right. He got paid. he's not going anywhere.
Do you think this offense is suited to his skill set, Brenden?
No. This offense is like, get separation. Michael Gallup doesn't get separation. He plays muscle ball. So, yeah, not at all.
You know, Tolbert looked pretty good at scoring his first NFL touchdown. Did he take over the wide receiver 3 role, Brenden?
He should. In like Mike McCarthy's press conferences are now just kind of funny. He's like, "Oh no, we believe in our system," and what everybody's complaining about slowly goes up. Man, Rico Dowdle should get more runs. Oh no, he shouldn't. We like what we're doing now. Rico's getting the ball a little bit more. Man, Michael Gallup's he's doing great, but Tolbert should be getting the ball. Tolbert's now right. He should have the number 3 role. I don't think he should have gotten some of the opportunities he got last night, aka the 4th down, chuck it to Jalen Tolbert. Why you're going for it, Jalen Tolbert? I don't understand. But for the most part, yeah, he's so much more explosive. He catches the ball, which is crazy now, and he just makes plays.
Mike, this was your question. Did Tolbert take over the wide receiver 3 role for you?
I think he's starting to take some of the snaps. It's going to be hard for him to take it over completely because Dallas believes in giving snaps to guys they paid money to.
Yeah.
But him and Turpin are getting more plays, and they're making more plays than Gallup right now in less opportunities. And so I'm hoping that means that they're opening it up for those guys going forward.
I love seeing Turpin, man, just perform when given the opportunity, dude. What does he have, like 3 touchdowns already this year? That's, for the guy that he is and where he came from and how he started, man, it's impressive.
Yeah, I got an article. The article I have coming up, major takeaways. One of them is about Turpin, so watch out for that probably Wednesday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Mike, did Philly's defense prevent Dallas from taking shots downfield, or did Dallas not do a good enough job of taking shots downfield?
I think the O-line prevents them from taking shots downfield. They don't trust it. They're not going to call a lot of plays where they take that, and Dak's not going to, resort to that very often. He'll take a shot. I think he had one to Lamb that game, a deep shot, and then the pass interference to Gallup where you had no choice but to, give him a chuck up at the end of the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the normal flow of the game, I don't believe the team trusts the O-line enough to take deep shots.
Brenden, when you look at this game, what contributed most to the loss? The Cowboys' second half defense or the Cowboys' second half offense?
I want to say offense just because the offensive line played, but Dak played too well. He played too well for me to say something bad about the offense like that. The 14 straight points in the third quarter makes me want to throw up.
Yeah.
Of course, your offense didn't do anything to really help, but your defense just got bullied. And it was an easy touchdown. I know the tush push is BS. I know. No one can stop it. It's whatever. But you don't let him get to 3rd and short, 4th and short, and then you're good. But no, Dan Quinn wants to play his soft coverage and whatever.
Now, you make up some good points, man, but you look at the offense. We had 5 possessions and we only scored 6 total points in that game, man. That's just not good enough. Mike, do you have anything to say to that?
I'm all team blame the defense on this one. The 2 drives they got killed. Third quarter, 6 plays, 60 yards, a touchdown, over 3.5 minute drive, and then they get the ball back, 11 plays, 87 yards, 6 minute drive, touchdown. Like, you were up 17-14. Your team's supposed to be the defensive team. And boom, boom, that totally changed the game. And now the offense is trying to catch back up, And as well as your offense played, it's still that's all we've been told about what this defense is, what it's supposed to be. And they got owned in that third quarter, and I thought it changed the whole game around.
What did you learn about this Cowboys team, Mike?
I learned that the defense and offense are good enough to beat pretty much anybody. I mean, we got to see about Niners still because of that matchup, but they have enough holes to be exploited by almost everyone as well. So if they're not on their game, Terrence Steele could get beat and cost or Biotish and cost the offense when they're moving well. Somebody could drop a ball. Dak miss a read. the play calling, call runs that are stupid and slow your drive down. So they're also good enough to put 30 on basically anybody. And then the defense could shut down anybody, but they also have spots where they get run on and give up big, long touchdown drives at momentum killing times. So I learned the good and the bad. Like, yes, they've shown now finally that no matter who they go up against, on the road, at home, whatever, they're good enough to play with these teams. But those teams could also get to them too.
Brenden, what about you? What did you learn about this Cowboys team?
I learned that officially Dak is back. Like, we've seen against the Rams and the Chargers. They're nothing. Like, I don't know what the score of the Chargers game is tonight, but their defenses are nothing compared to Philly, compared to San Fran. I know Dak can play well, but comparatively, he balled out. But the reason why your team isn't going to do well, the philosophy of this entire team. They trust their defense so much. Some nights they just won't have it. Last night they didn't have it at all. Micah played well, but anybody else? No. But other than that, it is their philosophy. Like, oh, we trust our defense. Why? What part of that game showed you like, oh man, we were good. We can just punt it here, or we can just like, oh, we don't get the fourth down, that's whatever. It hurts, but no, Dak is back.
Kind of crazy for me.
20-6 is the score. Jets are losing to the Chargers 20-6.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson.
And I don't know. The Jets are, for as bad as Zach Wilson is, the Jets have a pretty respectable record with him. For conversation's sake. What I learned about this
rush, like,
yeah. What I learned about this Cowboys team is, man, if we don't create turnovers, we have to be perfect, just damn near perfect, to try to win a game, and that's just a ridiculous thing to ask a team.
I agree. I 100% agree.
Brenden, what have you learned about this coaching staff?
Oh God. The one thing I did like, there's one thing I liked about the coaching staff last night. Mike McCarthy is getting ballsy. He used to be like, oh no, we're gonna punt it. We don't want to get fourth and three. F it. Let's go. Let's run it. I think he's letting Dak run more of the offense than probably he wants to, but it's working. Dan Quinn, I don't know. Like, I had so much praise for him beginning of this year, all of last year. You could not hear me say anything really bad about him. I don't know what's going on. I don't. Like, he's been out-coached multiple times now, and I feel weird saying it because he's been a mastermind.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think he's severely hurt his chances of being a head coach.
Well, he kind of touched on it, that defenses are now getting rid of the ball more. That's why the defensive line isn't getting as many pressures, as many sacks. I think I don't know, defense or teams are starting to figure him out.
Very possible.
Then adapt. It's 2023.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about that. I'm not making excuses for him. I'm just, that's what he was mentioning about, teams playing better against their defense.
Yeah. Well, that's a very fair shot right there.
Michael, what about you? What have you learned about this coaching staff?
They're better at in-game adjustments than they are at, like, setting up through preparation through the week. It seems that they always start off slow and then adjust and hit a stride and start to do well, but they just seem to always start poorly. They're like all three of their losses, 3 and out, and they give up points. Like, you could kind of see the game it coming in how they like prepare their team for it.
Right, like they don't have them ready to play, but they can get them motivated throughout the game.
Yeah, they can see what a defense or offense does to them and adjust well, and they make things work from there. But it never seems like they come out gun ho right away.
Agreed. Mike, are you encouraged or discouraged by this game?
Encouraged. Now there's a way you could look at it and go, hey, Dak played this great game. Lamb was great. No turnovers, yada, yada, yada. And Philly still won. But the way I look at it is the O-line was really bad. The calls went against them a lot. Not that that's an excuse, but some bad calls. 3 fumbles. They couldn't recover any of them. So yeah, and I feel like I left that game going, okay, I know we can play with them anytime, anywhere. We get to a NFC Championship game in Philly, we're going to have a 50-50 shot at it.
I like that. Brenden, what about you? Are you encouraged or discouraged by this game?
It's such a tough, because like I said, Dak played his ass off. He was phenomenal. CeeDee Lamb had almost 200 yards. Like, my God. But like, the only reason I feel discouraged, like they finally showed fight, which thank God. I didn't feel like they were ever going to show it, but it just felt like deja vu. I'm like, because they're winning. This is doing great. Well, they got punched in the mouth. They're not. And then finally, at the end of the game, they're finally reacting. They're finally getting back up, and the game's over. And you're came up short once again. It's not really about a team. It's more just about the years of watching them. And I'm like, I've seen this dance so many times. Yeah. But yeah.
I feel like if we started playing some smooth jazz, Mike would go straight to sleep right now.
Oh, bro, I'm worn out. I'm worn out. Today has been a long day, my friend. It's funny because I'm West Coast, so it's not even 8 o'clock for me. It's all late for you guys, but today's been a long day.
Well, hopefully you get some sleep tonight, Mike. We'll try to power through this. I know top 5 might run a little long considering who I'm doing this show with. So, as far as encouraged or discouraged by this game, man, I'm a little bit of both. I like the strides we made on offense, but I'm just worried, man. We can't beat the teams we need to beat to make it to the Super Bowl because we haven't seen it happen this year. So, I feel like that's a accurate concern. But we'll see, man. I am encouraged for sure. Dak has just been phenomenal these last 3 games, but can we put a complete game together is the real question. Brenden, how close or far away is this Cowboys team from being a real contender?
See, a couple of these questions I was looking at earlier, man, and I'm like, I could go either way.
Yeah.
On paper, they're hella close. This team should, even without Diggs, I miss Diggs completely, but even without Diggs, they should easily be contenders. But they keep shooting themselves in the foot, either it's with scheme, stupid penalties, or just wrongful execution. The reason why, if they don't win this year, it's themselves. It's like, oh man, Philly just played so much a better game, or we lose to San Fran in the playoffs. Oh, they played so much better. Why they play better? It's because you played bad.
Yeah. Mike, how about you? How close or far away is this Cowboys team from being a real contender?
I think we're in tier 2. Tier 1 is Philly, San Francisco, Kansas City, Cincinnati. And then I think tier 2 is the Miamis, the Buffaloes, us. You know what? I'd put Baltimore is teetering. I want to see a little bit more because I haven't done it in the playoffs, but they're looking like a tier 1 team right now. But maybe they're the high end of tier 2, where we're in the middle end of tier 2. But I would put us in tier 2. I don't think we're a top contender, but we're possible. If things go right, we're possible contenders.
Yeah, for me, it's how close or far away is this Cowboys team from being a real contender. We are a healthy right tackle and a run-stuffing nose tackle from being a contender in my eyes, man.
And a better linebacker. But
I don't know. Damone Clark, man, he's been balling out, bro.
No, he has, but you need more. Like, him and Bell have done fine, but just linebackers haven't done crazy much for me in these bigger games.
Yeah. All right, Mike, who's your player of the game?
I'm representing the Philadelphia O-line through Lane Johnson.
Oh, okay.
They kind of took over the game in the second half, and so I want to give that unit their props. So I'm going to say Lane Johnson as the main stalwart of that unit.
I like it. How about you, Brenden?
I can't choose the opponent. I can't. I will not, because I just don't want that coming out of my mouth. But right now, like I said earlier, it's Dak. Like, he's doing everything you need to win.
Yeah.
And you're still coming up short, but it's not him. Me on Twitter last night, if y'all see any of my tweets, I was going on rants on people because they're like, Dak should have done this. Like, 2 plays you're complaining about the entire game. Okay, buddy.
Yeah.
Dak put the team on his back so many times. He ran for the ball. He did the John Elway helicopter play to try to get a touchdown because he's putting his body out on the line. It's easily Dak in my eyes.
Yeah, I figured, Dak is the easy answer and the correct answer. I went with Tyron Smith. I mean, can you imagine what this offensive line would have done without Tyron Smith? How they would have looked with Adoga and Tyler on the left and Terrence Steele on the right. I'm like, my God.
I don't know, picking the losing team's players as player of the game.
We're homers, dang it.
All right, Brenden, who's your player spotlight?
Okay, well, I have a main one, but I just want to give a shout out to Turpin. My guy scored the first touchdown. He was no, but I gotta be since I'm the conductor. It's Fergie. Holy crap, dude! Oh my god!
Coming out party, I think, man.
Dude, besides that one drop, and that was a tough play. He got nailed right in the chest with his arms extended. Dude, Fergie's legit. He's reliable. His connection with Dak is great, and he's so athletic. I say this every time he makes a play, and I'm like, yes. Why is Schoon out there? Stop making plays for Schoonmaker. Holy hell. It's like having Jason Witten. And it's like, no, we're going to get this play for James Hanna. That's what we're going to do here. Why?
Yeah.
Why in the world would you do that? That touchdown I got called back on Schoon. Fergie's making that because guess what? Fergie will extend his arm. I know it's a pass interference that wasn't called. Fergie would have extended his arm. Schoonmaker just goes down. Fergie ball, dude.
He didn't have a drop either. That was not a drop. You can't consider that a drop. That would have been an almost impossible catch.
I'm just saying that for in case any people go after it, like, oh well, he did this. I'm gonna call it a drop. So I'm not completely defending him. But no, Fergie. Oh my god.
Mike, who's your player spotlight?
Tyler Smith, I think this is back-to-back weeks. He shut down Aaron Donald, and then he did the same to Jalen Carter. The rookie phenom had 2 pressures, and he had 1 in one-on-one matchups. I think it was 12 or 13 one-on-one blocks with Tyler Smith. He had 1 pressure. The kid's a pretty phenomenal friggin' offensive guard.
Yeah, I'm going spotlight, but it's not a good spotlight, man. Jordan Lewis had probably his worst game of the season, gave up a lot of big plays. It was a bad day for the veteran. Man, he was god-awful yesterday against Dallas Goedert, man.
They attacked him, too.
So what you're saying is he should be in the XFL. It's what you're saying.
He's a locker room guy. I know he had to go through a lot just to make it back this season, but he was bad yesterday. There's no way around it.
But also, that's on Dan Quinn. You put your 5'9", 5'10" corner on a 6'4" tight end. I don't care if you're Bob Sanders. You're not making that play. Like, are you kidding me? I can box him out.
A little less J. Lou, a little more Izzy.
Yes, sir. All right, Mike, sorry, guys.
Oh, sorry.
I would not be mad to see some more Izzy. I'll tell you that right now. All right, Mike, here we are with your views from the sideline. Would this team be better off missing the playoffs and getting a premium pick?
No, because as I said earlier, their offense and defense are both good enough to win any Sunday.
Yeah.
As much as I hate the matchup against the Niners, other than that, if you went up against Philadelphia, you didn't leave that game this Sunday thinking we're done for. Like, it's one call, one bounce, one step, 1 inch from being a Dallas win against the 7-1, now 8-1 Philly at their own house. So, no, you make the playoffs and you give it a run, because if you get hot at the right time, you have the talent to win Super Bowl.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think we're one maybe healthy right tackle or a new left tackle away from being a tier 1 team?
You're talking about next year?
Yeah, or better yet, are we one player away from being a tier 1 team?
For going into next season?
Yeah.
Well, I have to know what happens with Gilmore and how do we replace him if he's gone? What happens with Brooks or Cooks? What happens if he's gone? Do we have a left tackle other than Tyron? So no, I don't think. And because we don't use free agency, all the holes of people we're going to lose, we don't know how we're going to fill them. So I can't just go into next year and think they're going to be as good as they look talent-wise this season.
Hear you. All right, Mike, one thing I can say about the show is as many shows as we've done, I'd like to think that we have never blamed the refs or said that the refs were the reason that we lost the game. We might be upset about some of the calls, but we're not one of those shows that does that. That being said, true or false tonight, the refs didn't cheat the Cowboys, but they made it harder for them to win.
That's an easy true. I mean, you go through the formation penalty. It took away Pollard's run for a touchdown that ended up being downs. That's 7 points off the board. They spotted a ball badly early on. They missed a holding on Bradbury early. The illegal hands to the face. That would have been an automatic first down instead of a 3rd and 21 where they called the penalty and then just was like, now we're going to pick it up when the replay clearly shows he hit him in the face. The reason I don't blame the refs is because you can't control that. The refs are bad in every game. And the Rams game, we got a few breaks.
Oh, yeah.
In this game, Eagles got the breaks. So, concentrate more on the right tackle not being good enough, the defense not being able to get off the field on 3rd downs, or stop 4th down plays, not being able to pick up fumble recoveries. Concentrate on that, and then hopefully the referee breaks go your way when they're bad the next game, So they were bad, they cost you, but it doesn't help anything to dwell on that and blame them and make it like you would have won every minute of every game ever if the refs weren't just holding you back. Like, that's not going to help your team get better.
Brenden, true or false?
I'm just going to say it's true. Because this is not the reason why we lost, because there's some awful, awful plays that we've done. But why are they so bad every week, man? Like, my mom's like, oh, well, your dad can do sports. I'm like, just go be a ref. I know my dad's competent. He can actually watch and see something. Oh, hey, he was tackled here, so he's going to go here. Or, hey, that man's being body slammed into the ground. I think that's a holding penalty.
Hey, it's just a true or false question. God. Well, I did the same thing.
What y'all don't know is Mike and I are basically the same person.
We are. He's younger and more handsome, but we have very like minds.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to have to go true as well. And reason being is even though the refs affected the game, I've learned from you, Mike, about micro and macro, and there's a saying, create your own luck. Every decision, every action you take leads to where you are in your life. And we've seen in the Cowboys game, man, you mentioned the 3 fumble opportunities that you didn't convert with, the 4th and 1 at Lynch Schoonmaker, all those little things that led you to the point in that 4th quarter where you didn't convert and win the game. The refs, man, it should never come down to the refs, man. It should never come down to one call that costs you the game.
Yep, I agree.
All right, Brenden, one word. The Cowboys' chances of making it to the Super Bowl are blank.
They can go on a Cinderella run, and I can see it, and I'm screaming, freaking out, probably the loudest person ever to watch a TV, but it's low. And they do the same thing. I know, of course, they did play well for the most part. It's the same thing every time, man. We're about to blow out these next couple teams, except for Seattle, because someone just wants to go to Disneyland again. So I don't know who that is, but it's the same stuff. And I bet we're gonna beat Philly. I think handedly in Dallas. And am I saying that because I'm confident in this team? No, but that's what we do. And then we're gonna have some ugly games, probably against Washington week 18, and probably against the Lions. Because that's what we do. We end the season off terrible, and then we'll go into the playoffs. So it's low.
Mike, what about you? The Cowboys' chances of making it to the Super Bowl are blank.
Narrow. Things have to go a very certain way for them to be able to pull that off. So narrow would be my word.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For me, the Cowboys' chances of making it to the Super Bowl are unlikely. You mentioned the inconsistency of the defense. Terrence Steele playing the way he's playing, the lack of the running game. It's just I feel like they're unlikely.
It's good words.
All right, top 5 animated shows. Hopefully, Mike, this will wake you up a little bit. I know you guys are about to nerd out, I'm sure, for the next hour and a half, so I'm prepared myself mentally for that.
I'm
Brenden,
getting this done in 10 minutes.
Man, God, I hope so. But Brenden, start us off. What's number 5 on your list?
See, so first off, this is going to completely show our ages by far. But these changes, my last 3 can change either way. But my first one is Fairly Odd Parents on the old show from Nickelodeon. It's great. The show's still going, which it shouldn't. But it was just such a staple of my childhood. You got some really stupid jokes. Cosmo is hilarious. It's just great.
Go on the nostalgia route, man. Nothing wrong with that. Mike, what about you? Number 5 on your list?
Number 5 is Castlevania, the Netflix show. I'm watching the nocturnal one right now when I work out on my bike. Actually, that's what I'm going to do after this. Great show if you like Japanese anime type and you like the old school Castlevania games. It's bloody and it's pretty awesome.
Number 5 on my list, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the animated series. Excellent show. Love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, everything they've really ever done. You know, I haven't really kept up with it since I was a kid, but again, like most of my top 5s are always nostalgic. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You seen the new movie?
I haven't seen the new movie. I haven't had a chance to go see it. Haven't really taken the time to go do it either, but I'd like to go see it. I can't find the time, Mike. I really can't. But number 4 on my list, this was like an afternoon staple for me after school. X-Men, the animated series.
Good show.
Yes, sir. Mike, what about you? What's number 4 on your list?
Number 4 on my list is Robot Chicken. Animated show making fun of, like Star Wars and culture stuff. It's a good show. It was only like 15 minutes, too. It wasn't even a full half hour, but yeah, great show.
Yes, sir. Brenden, what about you? Number 4 on your list?
Dude, I didn't get to watch Robot Chicken for so long because it's like I see it on like the guide and I'm like, damn it! My parents would make me go to bed in like an hour. This sucks. I was never able to watch it for the longest time. Mine is Pokemon.
Pokemon. I haven't seen that. My little brother and one of his friends are very big Pokemon fans, but I've never watched that. I know Charizard and Jigglypuff and Pikachu. That's about all I got.
Well, yeah, y'all couldn't tell I got Pokemon cards and stuff because I love collecting things. But no, Pokemon was just a staple of my childhood. The games, I'm legit replaying Pokemon Brilliant Diamond. The TV show is just phenomenal. It shows everything of what Ash went through, and he still doesn't win. And he didn't win until I think last year, finally. But it's just such a great story. You can see so many great animations.
Very cool. All right, Brenden, what's number 3 on your list?
My list is basically Nickelodeon from when I was a kid. I went Avatar: The Last Airbender. That show is so funny, but it's got some really deep moments, some really great fights. The Sokka is by far the best, just because he can't do anything. He just throws a boomerang, but he's still top tier.
Yeah, I love James Cameron. Those little blue guys are awesome.
I also went the Nickelodeon route on my number 3 on my list. I went with Doug. I don't know how familiar you guys are with that show, but that was a big part of my after school watching.
That sounds so familiar
as well.
Yeah, Doug's a good show. Nickelodeon,
really, really good. Yes, sir.
That sounds so familiar.
Mike, number 3 on your list.
Number 3 on my list, The Clone Wars, Star Wars. We've talked about it on top 5s before. I'm not going to go crazy nerd off on it, but Ahsoka enhanced it even more, the greatness of it, and it was already great. So yeah, excellent show. Star Wars lore.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, Mike, what's number 2 on your list?
Number 2 on my list, Beavis and Butthead. I watch the new stuff now. I still watch and it's the same joke they've done. They do like 3 jokes in every episode that they've ever done, and they all are basically a fart joke. and I sit there and cry laughing every time I watch it. I'm like I'm an immature little kid. So what are you gonna do? I love it.
Man, that almost made my top 5. It really did. It was hard not having it on here. Brenden, what's number 2 on your list?
It sounds kind of familiar. I chose Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I love that show so much, and they brought it back for season 7. My childhood just lit up. If y'all couldn't tell, Captain Rex, Commander Cody, and I got a whole bunch of other stuff down there. It's a staple. It's just phenomenal.
I can't believe it's not 1. I'm sure.
Oh,
I
no.
can't wait to see what your 1 is.
Oh no, number 1 was so easy. This was the easiest question y'all could have ever asked me.
All right, number 2 on my list. Again, I went with the after-school special here, part of my childhood, but Batman the Animated Series.
The one with Mark Hamill as Joker?
Probably. I honestly couldn't really tell you. I don't remember the voice actors too much, but I would almost guarantee that's who it is.
Yeah, that's the best. I tell people, I was like, listen, I'm a Star Wars nerd. The best thing that Mark Hamill has ever done is not Luke Skywalker. It's his voice as Joker.
Oh, he's killed it.
Elite.
Yes. All right, and number 1 on my list. This is the show that, again, I grew up watching. I haven't watched it in a long time, but like I mentioned already, all my top 5s tend to be more on the nostalgic side. This is the classic, legendary show, The Simpsons.
Yes, all-time great.
Yeah, OG Simpsons
really
is pretty great.
OG Simpsons for sure.
Halloween House of Horrors, especially, was elite.
Oh yeah, yes sir. I haven't watched an episode in at least 10 or so years, but I just can't. I couldn't leave off The Simpsons, man. I really couldn't.
Disney Plus has them.
Oh, well, I'll have to keep that in mind. Mike, what's number 1 on your list?
Number 1 on my list is Invincible. Have you guys seen it?
No, what is that?
I've seen bits and pieces.
Okay, what I want you guys to do is go on Amazon Prime, put the first episode of Invincible on. The first episode. If by the end of that episode you don't want to watch everything they've done of Invincible, the whole first season, and now the new season just started this Friday, then I don't know what to tell you. You won't want to watch it. Like, it's incredible. It is one of the greatest first episodes to a show in the history of television. It's awesome. I've read all 3 compendiums. It's from the creators of Walking Dead. It is not a child's animated show. It is all blood and viciousness and bad language. But I highly recommend it. It's unbelievable. It's if Walking Dead did superheroes, basically. And and the voice cast is incredible as well. So yeah, I couldn't recommend Invincible enough, and it's perfect time to see it because season 2 just started this weekend.
Okay, interesting. All right, Brenden, finish us off, man. What's number 1 on your list?
This has been a staple for my family. Not just me, but my family ever since I was little. It's SpongeBob, dude. Oh my God. This is my brother, my dad, and I can quote almost every, from season 7 down perfectly. And that's how we make jokes and all. That's how I became friends with my now best friend. It's because we were able to quote it in 7th grade. And it's just perfect. Oh, the older SpongeBob, new ones, I have no idea what the hell's going on.
Oh yeah, the older. Oh yeah.
Oh dude, it's so perfect. The jokes are hilarious. Patrick is quintessential the best. He's such an idiot and it's awesome.
Can I ask when were the older episodes of SpongeBob?
1999 to 2004, 2005.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's about 20. Yeah, it's over 20 years ago. Okay, fair. I retract.
Well, what were you gonna say, huh? You can't talk crap about SpongeBob.
Well, I was saying young. I was thinking SpongeBob. I didn't remember when it came out, and I'm like, oh yeah, the older ones compared to the newer ones. Thinking it wasn't that long ago, but over 20 years ago. Yeah, that's fair.
No, I believe SpongeBob's on Amazon Prime, and we watched it like just seeing it. Dude, the first 4 episodes are all fire. Like it's the best stuff ever. They just had that back to back to back to back, and I'm like, you're perfect. I've never laughed so hard.
Yeah, SpongeBob, classic SpongeBob was really, really great. I remember watching a few episodes with my little sister. Oh my god!
What'd you say?
South Park.
That probably would have been number 2. I can't believe I didn't even think about South Park.
No, see, the problem with South Park for me is I wasn't allowed to watch it until a lot later. So I went with more childhood stuff instead of South Park. No, but South Park is great. Like, can't talk bad about it. It's perfect.
I'm just shocked it didn't make anyone's list.
I would even put South Park over Simpsons, honestly, man. That's how much I love South Park. I can't believe I didn't even think about South Park. God, I feel like an idiot.
My little brother says I have to mention Vox Machina. I have not started it yet, but as a D&D show, it's supposed to be amazing. And he tried to make me get it on the list. I'm like, I've never seen it yet. You just told me to watch it.
Yeah.
But
put something on your list you've never seen before.
Yes, he swears. I looked up, I was like, well, let me look up top animated shows. The second show was Vox Machina. So I was like, okay, damn, I guess I got to check this out.
Yeah. God, I'm going to kick myself for a long time for not having South Park on my list. Oh, well,
watch Invincible and thank me later.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Guys, we can't keep this under an hour for the second show in a row. So not to rush you guys, but before Mike falls asleep, remind us where you can find us on Twitter, Mike.
Letter C, letter D, Piglet. Nice and easy. I'm setting up my massage chair.
Brenden, where can we find you on Twitter?
You can find me at Brenden_Smith26.
Guys, I'm Paul Ryan. You can find me on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. We appreciate you joining us, and we'll see you guys next week.